It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
All right, welcome in. Second hour of the Full Court Press. Been busy, a lot of texts. Spent basically the entire first hour reading texts, and I love it. Haven't done that since, well, that time Utah State lost to Weber State in football. We had to basically texts the entire show. I love those kind of days because I love getting this kind of interaction, this back and forth with texters. Unfortunately, Eric Frandsen isn't here to help me out. He's been trying to get some interviews done with some of the men's basketball players, actually, who just lost last night to San Diego State, 63-61, but having some issues, and he may or may not be back for the show. The plan was for him to be on the show today. This is just kind of a last-second, adjustments, things going wrong, so we'll see what we can do there. Do have a few more texts, but just overall, one of the biggest takeaways, from a day where a lot happened. The Jazz made a trade. Obviously Utah State losing to San Diego State, but one of my biggest takeaways from the Utah State-San Diego State game, first off, it probably ends Utah State's chances at a regular season Mountain West title. That's pretty much done and dusted. It also pretty much ends a lot of Utah State's hopes. It doesn't completely eliminate their hopes, but they're pretty much on the brink of not being able to get into the Mountain West or get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. If they won out from here, they might. But the problem is the top end of the resume is just missing anything substantive. They don't have really any great road wins. They have a good home win against New Mexico, but New Mexico now is tumbling down the standings themselves, so that win is looking less and less good by the day. You can beat Nevada and Boise State, but then you've beaten them at home, but you got crushed by them on the road. So it's like anything good they can do at this point, there's something that's negative that can take away from that. And it feels like that'll keep them just outside of the NCAA tournament. It's kind of sad, but that's the truth. Now, I said earlier, I think this team has the talent to and the capability of winning at the conference tournament, but that would require them just probably playing a little bit above their head and shoring up a lot of the weaknesses they have. It also probably require a bit of luck in terms of who they play. Playing New Mexico would help because that's a team they match up fairly well against. They don't match up well against San Diego State. They actually don't match up too well against San Jose State. So you'd rather not see San Diego State or San Jose State in the tournament. Some other teams they maybe match up a little bit better against. They might match up somewhat well against Colorado State, a team that doesn't seem to be able to stop Utah State's three-point shooting. Obviously, anyone matches up with Wyoming now at this point because Wyoming doesn't have any good players left that are healthy or on the team. So if you got a lucky road, the Aggies could maybe make the final or even win the conference tournament. But it feels like with all these results, at this point, Utah State's the top-end goals of this team are probably just about over. Not completely. I can't write them off yet. There's too much basketball left to be played. But it feels like that's the direction we're going. There's still confidence that the Aggies can beat Nevada and Boise State. But again, I don't think those wins do enough for their resume. Few texts coming in, or in one case, I missed a couple of texts from 9315. He did text in to remind me that I'd missed a couple of his texts, so I got to track back and figure out which ones I missed. Now, I read the one about how there was not as many dunks, not enough physicality and finishing inside for the Aggies. He did, so I think there's 2. Is there enough of the right type of player in Utah for Odom to recruit even with all the D1 schools in Utah, BYU, etc.? The Aggies have gotten good players out of the state of Utah. They got Sam Merrill, Stephen Ashworth. They're probably not going to get the longer forward center types. A lot of those guys the Utah State have tried to recruit tend to end up going to BYU or Utah. Granted, there's not a whole lot of great athletic forwards that come out of Utah anyway, at least not as much. I'm trying to think of long athletic prospects coming out of Utah. There haven't really been that many. But the Aggies can get some. They can get good players out of the state of Utah. But obviously the priority tends to be more toward BYU and Utah. When looking for length and athleticism, you've often seen the Aggies go international. You look at Shulga, Hamoda, Keta, Diogo Brito. A lot of the longer athletic players the Aggies have brought in have tended to be international. You try and find a diamond in the rough international, and that's where I think a big key for Utah State's recruiting needs to be, is international. Because domestic, a lot of those guys, they're not as, there's going to be a bias kind of against Utah State or against Mountain West programs where they want to go other places. International prospects may not have those biases, and you have a better chance at getting them to come to Utah State. And you can find those kind of guys. And it takes a lot of scouting and a lot of talent and, frankly, a lot of luck to land some of these really good international prospects. But that, I think, is a big key for Utah State going forward in terms of trying to find athletes is find them internationally, wherever you can. Some more text 8577 asking, what injury does Rylan Jones have? Why has he been out for so long? So, got to level with you. Utah State hasn't been forthcoming, in terms of publicly releasing that information. There's speculation, there's rumors, there's things that I've heard, but it's not information that can be divulged or that can be, confirmed in some cases. So it's like there's speculation on why Rylan Jones is out. I have my own thoughts. And my personal feeling is I don't think Jones is going to play the rest of the year. But that's something that I can't confirm because I don't know what's happening. It's just my suspicion. So it's something Utah State's not going to reveal. They've chosen to keep his injury completely under wraps. He's with the team. He's at practices. He's not practicing, but he's at practices. He's at games. But to me, it's weird where they've been forthcoming with a lot of other injuries, but they've just absolutely kept his under wraps completely, not telling a single soul what's going on, and just declining to talk about it. 2603 says, what is disappointing with USU is some of these seniors on the team are too inconsistent for seniors. Yeah, there is some inconsistency that can be a little frustrating. I don't know. Some of it is that these guys aren't top-end talent. They're good, talented players, but they're not top-end guys. And guys who aren't top-end can be inconsistent. So it's nice that the Aggies have a larger share than normal of these above-average guys. It's how they've been so good offensively. But yeah, some of the turnovers, the cold spells. That's the most frustrating thing is you have a team that's averaging 80 points per game that somehow manages to not score for 4 or 5 minutes at a time. That's the frustrating thing. Or more so the defense is inconsistent. You allow 44 points in the first half. Couldn't stop anything. You allowed 19 points in the second half. Stopped everything. So that is, the inconsistency is a little disappointing. Because it feels like this team playing at its best can hang with anybody. But they haven't been consistent in any one of these games they've played against good teams. They haven't been consistent in either San Diego State game. They weren't consistent in Nevada, and they weren't consistent at Boise State. They had stretches where they played good, but they don't put together 40 minutes. They put together 32 minutes, which sometimes, most teams, they only put together, even if they win, they put together 30 to 35 minutes of good play. The other 10 minutes, maybe they're not, the other team makes a run. They have a bit of a scoring drought for a handful of possessions. But the Aggies, they're 30 to 35 minutes if they put together good basketball. The other 5 to 10 minutes is catastrophically bad. Ice cold. Miss 7 straight shots. Allow the other team to make 7 straight shots. So that's where the inconsistency is frustrating, because it's not just they're being inconsistent, it's there's a wide gap between the peak and the valley. 9-15 says, having Jones out is a key reason we have a harder time closing out big games. I think ball handling and play initiation, also Stephen Ashworth being more effective. We've talked about him being more effective off the ball. Tiring him out, having to go up against, the team's, best defender one-on-one, having to handle the ball, having to initiate offense. It's harder for Ashworth to play that role for all 35 minutes, whereas he used to only have to play that role for like 10, 15 minutes, and he could play a lot of the rest of the minutes off the ball, be a scorer. And yeah, we've mentioned this over and over, how big Jones, despite the fact that Jones is only, 5 point per game, 4 assists, and a rebound and a half maybe, despite the fact that those are his stats, he is a big loss for this team. And that's, the ceiling kind of dropped a little bit when Jones went out. Still a good team, but the ceiling has dropped a tad. And it has hurt the Aggies. It's not a catastrophic loss, but it's a loss. And it's made the team a little bit worse. 7994 says recruiting is a large part of the coaching success. However, the great coaches take a good player and make them better, a.k.a. Sam Merrill, J.C. Carroll, Ty Wesley. In my opinion, the jury is still out on if Coach Odom and his staff can make that happen. Yeah, I think it is. There's some positive early returns on that. I think having Taylor Funk be as effective as he has at times, Stephen Ashworth making his jump, that's certainly a positive. So we've seen some early positive returns, but I would say I would agree, jury's a bit out. We'll see. Like with recruiting and development, 2 years here is not enough for me to really make a determination. I can tell you which way I think things are leaning. I think things are leaning toward Odom being a good coach, a decent recruiter, decent at developing. We've seen guys improve. We see Max Shulka improve. We've seen Sean Bairstow improve. Now, can he make them into great players? That's probably another word, because we've seen Stephen Ashworth turn into a good player, a really good shooter. We've seen Max Shulga turn into a good player. One more jump and you could maybe say he's great. We've seen Sean Bairstow make that jump into a good player. These guys who are, out of the rotation and they jump into the rotation and they've been really good. We've not seen Odom develop a star player yet. And maybe that's one thing where we'll have to keep an eye out, is can he do that? Or is he going to keep having these good players, but maybe not a great player? Maybe that's part of where the ceiling is. These last 2 teams with Ryan Odom have been good, but they don't have a star player. And so, star player, a guy who's going to go out there and get a bucket night in, night out. Maybe that's what's missing. Maybe you put a Sam Merrill on this Aggie team and suddenly they're, way, way better potentially. 5980 says the Aggies are a rhythm team. When that was thrown off with the clock and ref issues, didn't help them find any rhythm in the first half. Yeah, that's certainly an argument that can be made. This is a team that likes to get up and run. When they get up and run, they can put up a lot of points. And when every other moment the clock is stopping because of shot clock issues, or whistles, or techs, or scuffles on the bench, yeah, that causes a problem. 8968. Finally getting through another round of texts. This is the last unread text we have. It says, my hope, if he is healthy, is that Jones can come back in time for the tournament and hopefully not get hurt. And I think, honestly, the closer we get to the season, the more I'm convinced of my suspicion that Jones won't play again this season. I think just about everybody on this team, I think, has another year of eligibility. Because I think Taylor Funk and Dan Akin are the two that don't have more eligibility. And other than that, I think everyone else can come back, including Rylan Jones. And I think even Trevin Dorius. So now we'll see if they all decide to come back, because they don't always do that. Maybe they even decide to transfer or just move on with their life. We'll see. I suspect we're going to see Rylan Jones in an Aggie uniform again. I'm just worried about whether or not that's going to happen this year. So that's all the text we have for now. Of course, you want to keep texting in 435-339-0321. We still got a lot more to talk about here. We've spent, an hour and 20 minutes talking about Utah State, the state of the program, where they're at right now. It's a bit disappointing that they're probably not contending for a Mountain West title, but overall, we've seen a good improvement from Ryan Odom year 1 to year 2. Now, year 2 to year 3, we'll see if he's able to make another jump. Because at this point, we're seeing the Aggies they're fringe contenders, and then they usually kind of fade out by the end of the year. They, of course, I guess last year they started 1-5 in conference play, so they probably weren't contenders as much last season at all in Mountain West play. But this year they were contending for a little bit. They were playing at being contenders. And they can still beat some of the teams and maybe finish 3rd or 4th. Yeah, we've probably seen the last of Utah State being in consideration for the regular season title. And that's something Odom's going to have to work on for next year, is building this team up continuously, developing his players, bringing in the right recruits and developing them. So we'll see how he's able to do that. Now we're going to take a bit of an earlier break. We have more things to talk about, but I want to have a nice, clean transition into it. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk NBA trade deadline. The Jazz making a trade yesterday. Me and Eric were on the show. We thought, okay, they're not going to make a trade now because they hadn't made one, by the time our show ended, and they were playing a game that night. The Jazz played a game last night. And me and Eric were both thinking, okay, they're not going to make a trade during or right before the game. But they did. The Jazz made a trade, sent off 3 players. They're getting 1 back. Well, maybe. They might be buying him out. They also got a first-round pick back. We're going to talk about it next here on 106.9 The Fan.
Nothing feels better. Nothing is more relaxing than a massage. A deep tissue or a relaxing Swedish massage from Academy Massage at the Sports Academy. Buy your sweetie a massage and get a 10% discount through Valentine's Day. Relax, rejuvenate, and revitalize yourself with a massage for both of you. 10% off all massages through Valentine's Day at the Sports Academy. This offer valid for members and non-members. The Sports Academy. Your club, your results, your life.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
What's more important than sleep? Granted, some things are, but not many. This is Ryan at My Mattress, and here we offer the best solution to better sleep, a better mattress. IntelliBed, the gel mattress, cradles your hips and shoulders while providing the best back support possible. Or come in and choose a Tempur-Pedic that boasts 93% of their owners love their bed. My Mattress, offering the best sleep possible by the South Walmart.
Nothing compares to the warmth and feel that a wood stove provides. The two-time Best of Northern Utah winning team says there's never been a better time to replace your old inefficient wood stove and install a new energy-efficient EPA-certified Vermont casting wood product in your home. The U.S. government is offering federal tax credits of 26% on your wood stove install for Vermont casting units that include stoves, venting, and labor. Call or email Advanced Fireplace and Stove for a free in-home estimate. Call 435-752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Has inflation got you down? This is Zach with HSA Depot. Did you know you can save money by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies? Health savings and flex spending accounts can be used for more than just doctor visits and prescriptions. HSA Depot helps you conquer your health care by providing HSA and FSA eligible products, taking the guesswork out of the process. Come to HSA Depot next to Sally Beauty and see how much you can save. HSA Depot, 5-star review.
Schreiber Foods in Logan is hiring overnight technicians for maintenance and energy systems. People who can repair, troubleshoot, and perform preventative maintenance on a variety of automated equipment. You'll also have the opportunity to participate in their upcoming expansion projects. Energy systems technicians at Schreiber Foods work with ammonia systems, boilers, and refrigeration. Schreiber Foods doesn't just invest in equipment, they invest in their employees too. Enjoy an 8% 401k match, an employee stock ownership plan, an on-site health and wellness clinic. Apply online at schreiberfoods.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Following the local teams, it's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Hello. Second hour already in progress of the Full Court Press. Jason Walker with you here. I got the good news. Eric Frandsen is on his way. So those of you who are getting tired of hearing only my voice, which if you are, then thank you so for sticking with me this long. If you're that annoyed with hearing my voice. But he's on his way, depending on how fast he drives. Maybe he'll get here by the beginning of the next segment. We'll see. It takes me like 10 minutes to get here from my house. It's probably a similar distance from Utah State to here. Slightly longer, probably. But want to talk about, so we spend the entire first hour and 20 minutes talking about reading your guys' texts. If you want to keep texting in, 435-339-0321. Kind of switching topics into the Utah Jazz. They made a trade yesterday. I wasn't thinking they were going to make a trade last night. I thought maybe they'd end up making it this morning. There was a ton of smoke, and turns out there was fire surrounding the Jazz trading a 3-team trade with the LA Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, where the Jazz send out Mike Conley, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. The Minnesota Timberwolves send D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers. The Lakers would get Beasley and Vanderbilt. Timberwolves get Mike Conley. So Mike Conley to the Timberwolves, Beasley, Vanderbilt to the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell also to the Lakers. What the Jazz get in return is they get Russell Westbrook and a top 4 protected first-round pick. That's what they're getting there. Now, as far as the trade, I think in the end, well, let me read a text really quick here. 7994 says, was Mike Conley really only worth a 2027 first-round pick? I would hope for 2025 at least. I like the mature leadership you seem to bring to the team. Is there somewhere to find all the draft picks the Jazz have? Yeah, if you draft usually I just Google it, because usually somebody's compiled it. Because the Jazz I think have 15 first-round draft picks over the while. The Lakers, I don't think they have a 2025 first-round pick or theirs. The only tradable picks the Lakers had was 2027 and 2029, so that's why not 2025. And the fact that it was lightly protected, and I was a little upset the Jazz only get one first-round pick, but based on what the rest of the trade market was doing, everyone was trading second-round picks. Nobody wanted to get rid of their first-round picks. So it seemed the Jazz kind of got off with, they got a first-round pick. It was protected. A little disappointed in that because the whole point of the 2027 pick is that the Lakers are supposed to be bad that year. Even if they're trying to be good, they'll probably be bad. And if the Lakers are bad, then, I'm not one to believe in conspiracy theories, but the NBA rigging the lottery is one that I firmly believe in. Maybe not firmly believe, but part of me is very, very skeptical. Just thinking like the NBA is definitely rigging these lotteries. That's what it feels like to me. Maybe they aren't. I'm just being a little paranoid there, but yeah, it's tricky. By the way, we had a caller call in, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get to, because the problem is to answer your call, I have to jump off the air to answer the phone, and I don't want to have dead air for 10, 15 seconds. If you call during the break, call back, try and answer your call, and we'll get you on the air. So my apologies for, I saw the call was coming in, but it's hard for me when I'm by myself to answer the phone. So I'm sorry about that. Text chat is open. If you want to call, we'll be taking a break here in 4 or 5 minutes. If you want to call back, we'll try and get all that set up, and we can get you on the show. So yeah, call back during the break. We'll try and get that. We'll get your opinion in here. But yeah, with the trade, the Jazz are clearly now going full on into the tank. It's you're trading away your point guard. Obviously, one of your key bench players, Malik Beasley, sometimes a fill-in starter, Jared Vanderbilt. The Jazz have lost, obviously one of their best players and then a lot of their depth. So it's just, they're probably going to start falling. They're going to lose more. Of course, last night they lost, 143, 118. Part of that was, I think, the team was just devastated. I mean, after the game, they were interviewing the players. They're talking, losing Mike Conley. Walker Kessler, just disheartening where he's running the pick and roll with Mike Conley is one of the easiest things he'd ever done. It was just disheartening looking at these players that are just kind of staring down at the table, realizing they've lost teammates that they've loved playing with. And it's just, even though from the beginning of the season, even though I've kind of wanted the Jazz to tank, it feels disheartening. Especially that it happened now. If it happened at the beginning of the year, maybe I could have stomached it more. But I fell in love with the team. But yeah, right now, looking at where the Jazz potentially are, 538 does a kind of live, after every game and after different depth chart changes. So after the trade deadline, they have kind of a live updating. Not live updating, but they update it on a daily basis. Projections for the rest of the season, chances to make the playoffs, what they think your record is going to be. They even have a chance to make or win the NBA Finals. They have the Jazz projected to finish, I think. I didn't check where they'd finish in the West. I think they'd have them finishing 4th worst in the West. And with the 8th worst record overall, 38-44 is what this site projects, what 538 projects the Jazz to finish at. Which may be accurate. The Jazz could wind up doing worse. We'll see. They're going to wind up starting Colin Sexton the rest of the way. This will be an opportunity for him to try and see if he's actually anything resembling a point guard. If not, he'll be kind of a 6-man point guard. We'll see what happens with Jordan Clarkson. At this point, maybe it feels like he's just going to wind up walking away for nothing. It's obviously a chance for Ochai Agbaji. It's a huge chance for him. Malik Beasley leaves, and suddenly that's a big gap in minutes, and Agbaji's got to be the one to fill it. So Agbaji is going to get a huge opportunity. Simone Fontecchio is going to get an opportunity. I don't think he's really a long-term option, but we're going to find out. Is he the next Joe Ingles, where he's like a 27, 28-year-old rookie who turns out to be good? We're about to find out. We're about to see Walker Kessler have a bit more of a burden placed on him. You lose Jared Vanderbilt. Granted, I don't think Vanderbilt and Kessler played as many minutes together, but still, now that they don't have Vanderbilt, they don't have another defensive guy to rely on, and so Kessler's going to have to take on a bit more of that burden. He's going to have to develop. And then Kessler, he's going to have to learn how to play now that he doesn't have Mike Conley. Can you run the pick and roll as well when it's Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton? Colin Sexton in particular. Can he run the pick and roll with Colin Sexton? So we'll see. Unfortunately, whereas the team was developing before while it was pushing toward the playoffs, now the team has to develop while it's losing a lot. And that's something that has me worried a little bit. I expressed my worry. Granted, there's a whole nuance and conversation about, should the Jazz push toward the playoffs or tank? But one of my worries is that will the development of these guys be stunted? Walker Kessler absolutely benefited from playing with Mike Conley and is a better player for that. Can he continue that development without Mike Conley? We're about to find out. So that's something to definitely pay attention to. We're going to take a break. We're going to see if Eric Frandsen, how close he is to showing up. We're going to continue this conversation. We'll also talk a little bit about high school basketball, some of the results from last night, and just how things are going in general in Region 11 hoops as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, and these matchups are meaning more and more in terms of standings and obviously RPI, and there's going to be some big matchups coming soon that'll decide the Region 11 title, potentially. We'll have that coming up next on 106.9 The Fan.
Happy Valentine's Day from Birch Creek and Bluebird Candy. Surprise your Valentine with the Birch Creek Couples League Punch Pass and a box of Bluebird chocolates. Birch Creek's Couples League will be starting up this spring, and your Valentine golfer would love a punch pass and box of chocolates. Pro Shop will be open February 14th from 10 to 4. So stop in and get your Valentine Punch Pass to Birch Creek and box of chocolates from the Bluebird. And happy Valentine's Day from your friends at Birch Creek.
Happy birthday to our favorite appliance expert, Daryl. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. It's Daryl's birthday and we're celebrating in style. Come on down to Daryl's and enter to win a brand new microwave. This week only, get a limited edition Daryl's t-shirt with purchase. That's not all. We're also bringing out Daryl's very own Harley. It'll be on display in our showroom for the week. Come on down and celebrate with us. Don't miss out on the birthday specials happening now at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
Bull Moose RV has moved to a new location with a huge indoor shop and the ability to work on several motorhomes and RVs at the same time. They hope to earn your business with amazing service. Bull Moose RV can service your RVs, and now is the best time to get that done before the spring rush. They also have several used RVs for sale. Head in and get a great price on a gently used RV. Find them at 1850 North, 600 West, or online at bullmooseRV.com.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain climb. This is Lance Zollinger, president at Cache Valley Bank. To conquer the mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles square off in Super Bowl 57. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew from Arizona for all the action. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are hoping to win a second title in 4 seasons for Kansas City. But the Philly faithful are hoping this one can be as special as their last Super Bowl 5 years ago. If it's Super Bowl 57, it's right here.
Pre-game begins at 3 with kickoff at 4:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
This is your Mountain West basketball update with Matt and Everett.
Tuesday featured a trio of matchups around the Mountain West, including a Centennial State showdown between Colorado State and Air Force, with the Rams coming out on top 69-53 at the Academy. John Tonji dropped 20 points, and Isaiah Stevens pitched in with 20 more of his own on a 9 of 13 shooting performance. Here's Brian Roth on Learfield.
Kick to Stevens, corner, baseline drive all the way inside. He finishes at the cup.
After a back-and-forth first half, Fresno State edged out rival San Jose State 70-62 in Fresno, thanks to 3 players scoring in double digits, including 2 starters and Donovan Yap with 16 off the bench in 26 minutes. It was a thriller between Nevada and New Mexico at the pit to cap off the Tuesday games around the conference. Jared Lucas matched a season high with 28 points for the Wolfpack, but Keenan Blackshear took the final shot for the road team.
Keenan with 5 seconds. Keenan against Mashburn. Goes into the key. Stops. Falls away. The shot goes at the buzzer. Keenan got it to go.
John Ramey had the call of that 77-76 Nevada buzzer-beating road win on Learfield. UNLV braved the cold in Laramie to outlast Wyoming in a 69-59 final. It was the E.J. Harkless show from start to finish for the Runnin' Rebels. After scoring 27 in a loss to Fresno State last time out, the senior guard fired through 33 points to match a season high and lead the Rebels to their 3rd road win in conference play. And the biggest battle of the early week slate around the conference was in Logan, as Utah State nearly erased a 16-point halftime deficit against number 25 San Diego State Wednesday. But 18 points from Matt Bradley and clutch rebounding late by Keyshawn Johnson kept the Aztecs in the top 25 and atop the Mountain West standings. Here's the legend Ted Leitner with the final sequence on San Diego Sports 760.
Shoga, step back jumper, right side, no, rebound, Keyshawn, Johnson, 1.8 seconds to play.
And that's your Mountain West basketball update. I'm Matt Neverett.
The Aggies are number 1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back, Full Court Press. Jason Walker, and I have a friend with me. Eric Frandsen.
Hello!
Good of you to show up, and I know you've had a lot of adventures. While we've been on air, you've been having a real adventure up there on campus of Utah State.
Oh, it's a real adventure when I just sit on my butt for an hour waiting. Yeah, originally, and it's not the media relations folks' fault, but originally they tell me, you be here, 4:35. It's like very specific time. I'm like, okay. And then later actually they got moved up, so you need to be here at 4. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'll just go straight there and I'll miss the first part of the show, but then I'll get it done and I can be here for the rest of it. So I get there just as I'm walking up the stairs. Oh, sorry, practice has been delayed. Actually looks like interviews are going to be closer to like 4:40. Okay, so does that not really enough time for me to like go back and then to the station to be here for like 5 minutes and turn around and go back all the way up there for traffic and parking and getting up the stairs and everything. It's like, I just stay here, I guess. And then, okay, looks like they're about done. Oh, you know what? They're actually going to go do some film study first. It's like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, I had a full hour just sitting around, clearing email, listening to you on the app. It's all good.
Does it sound all right?
It's all good. Eventually, I did get to speak to Trevin Dorius and Z Hamoda, some fun features that will be part of our future KVNU Game Day broadcasts. So you'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun here, had a lot of people texting in. If you want to text in, 435-339-0321. Speaking of text, 4781. Eric, that's the weirdest explanation of why you didn't want to be around Jason for the first bit of the show. Look, if you don't want to be around me, just tell me. Like, do I need to take a shower? Like, do I not use the right deodorant?
That's good. That's funny.
Yeah, but we had plenty of time. We had me and the texters. I was not alone because we had a lot of input from the text line. So thank you for helping make this show, not just me talking into a mic. Because heaven knows, I don't think I would even want to listen to that.
Yeah, no shortage of content today.
Yeah.
With what happened last night in the NBA and what happened last night in the Spectrum.
Yeah, definitely. We've gone over a lot of what happened in the Spectrum. I do want to get to this one text because I didn't. We talked about the trade the Jazz made, and I didn't actually, I kind of went on the highlights, but there's a little more to the trade that I should have read out, but I didn't. 2305 helping me out. It says, pardon me if I didn't answer the right question, but I think they got one Toscano Anderson, another guy named Brown, in addition to Westbrook, and the trade with the Lakers in Minnesota. And yes, you're right. So I just kind of touched on the highlights, but the full deal includes, I'll just read off what each team gets instead of trying to explain who's sending what where. But the Lakers are getting D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. The Minnesota Timberwolves are getting Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They're also getting a second-round pick from the Lakers, 2 second-round picks from the Jazz. And the Jazz are getting Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and the 2027 first-round pick via the Lakers, which is top 4 protected according to the reports. So that's the full trade. So the Jazz are actually sending out 4 players. They're getting 3 back, plus a first-round pick. Rumor is, though, they're going to buy out Russell Westbrook. And the Jazz haven't officially announced this trade themselves. I believe the Timberwolves officially announced the trade. But I don't think the Jazz or Lakers have. The one or the other may have done it. I haven't been checking social media heavily during the show. But maybe that's why they're maybe waiting to try and buy out Russell Westbrook before announcing everything. But yeah, the rumor is the Jazz are going to buy out Russell Westbrook, and he won't be playing with the Jazz.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't really see how he fits into this culture right now. Plus, I think it frees them up for significant payroll opportunities and salary situations in the offseason. Of course, he's an expiring contract anyway. But, I think it opens up some future opportunities for the Jazz. And I just, I don't know how this fan base would really react to Russell Westbrook in a Utah Jazz uniform anyway. So, yeah.
All right, so we had a phone caller come in. We're going to see if I got this to work technically. If it didn't, I'm going to need Eric to come over and help me. But I had a caller come in. I forgot to get his name. All right, are you there?
Yes,
Okay, I forgot to get your name. Or if you told me, I forgot. I'm terrible with names.
It's Don.
Don, okay. So you said you had a couple comments. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I just kind of on the subject and off the subject. It's Aggie basketball, but I'm wondering, why don't you cover Aggie women's basketball? I went to their game against Nevada. They played their butts off. I know they had a struggling season, and they come back and almost beat Nevada after a 25-point deficit the other day. I just wonder why you don't cover them.
That is a fair question. Honestly, it's something that I've made it a goal.
We've commented on Utah State women's basketball here and there, periodically.
Yeah,
it's right. I guess I would. Yes, but I don't hear it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question would be, how would you define cover? I mean, could we do more than what we are doing? Yeah, probably. But it's not like we've totally ignored them.
Right, but I hear your coverage of the men's team, and you're down to the science with everything on the men's team, but you don't cover the women's team. So
no, certainly not to the same degree, and part of that's market driven. We see the reactions and the feedback and the interest is at a much different level for the men's team than it is for the women's.
Right.
I know that there's people in women's athletics, women's sports are concerned that they don't get the same level of attention as men do. But
right.
part of that
was kind of my concern, and I see the spectrum on that Saturday morning or afternoon, and where's the herd? Where's the public supporting these girls?
Yeah, and that's it's a tough question because some of it's a bit of a chicken and the egg argument because the women's program has struggled.
Right. Yeah.
But and the question is, would the crowd come? Or there's also if the crowd comes, then the team would be better. There's a bit of back and forth with that, and so I've generally tried to make it a goal to try and improve coverage of just the not necessarily mainstream. One of the things I've been working on recently is covering the high school girls basketball.
My question is, what if the men's team was having a struggling year? What would happen then?
We'd still be talking about it. Yeah, we'd still be covering it.
If they were struggling like the women.
Like I said, that's kind of part of the market-driven aspect of it. And in an ideal world, we would be able to cover. And that's part of why we created the Light the A podcast. We're still working on, I don't know, even that we've focused on a lot of men's basketball, even with that. But the ideal is...
But it's creating a vehicle, an opportunity for us to cover a lot of other sports that don't get as much attention.
Yeah, and so it's something that we're aware of, and it's part of why I've been hired on is to help expand the coverage, because when it's just Eric, a lot of times we only have time for the mainstream stuff in the market, in the kind of market driven, the football and men's basketball and boys high school basketball and football.
Yeah,
and so that's why we're trying to, expand a little bit.
And I've also heard more coverage about the Region 11 girls basketball than the women's Utah State team. So that's kind of concerned. I just wondered why. If I was them, I'd be kind of wondering the same thing like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Why don't we get the attention?
Yeah, and it's something that as I'm balancing out my workload, it's something that I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of that falls on me. But
right.
Again, some of it is it's market driven. We had 1 million people texting in about the game last night, and not as many people texting about the women's. But some of that is us obviously having some bias toward certain things.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just my concern is I'd like people to support the women's a little bit more. But
yeah, and I would too.
Just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing.
Thanks for calling in, Don.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had coaches on before, we've had players on before, and so we certainly try to continue to do that.
Yeah, and
we're not intentionally like, oh, okay, show prep, don't talk about the women.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. But it's over my many years of doing this show, we just don't get the reaction. We don't get the feedback.
Yeah.
And this is a program. I'm not going to point any names, but this is a program that has really struggled. They've had a few blips. They've had some good years. By and large, more often than not, it's been a struggling program. So whether we talk about it or not, I don't know that it really changes much, but it's mostly market-driven, and that's why we focus on the things we focus on.
And I think ideally, if the women's program had done better, we probably would talk about them more. Now, granted,
sure.
His point about us covering the men, even if they were bad, that's a frustrating inconsistency for
sure.
Especially, and I'm someone who's been a fan of women and girls basketball. I've covered it, and I've watched it, and so I'm frustrated that it's not as covered as it is, and that's why I've made a bit of a goal here to improve that with our station. But
you go to other parts of the country, and the women's basketball team is that is the ticket in town, or the volleyball team, or the gymnastics, and that is you would go into those markets and you listen to their local sports talk radio. They're talking about those issues because that's what the community is engaged in and interested in talking about.
Yeah,
and in this community, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, we can talk about it and we'll mention it, but it is not. It's not going to get the same level of attention and feedback as talking about these other sports, which we've detailed.
Well, it's also why I talk so much about the girls' basketball here in the high school, because they're really good.
Yeah,
and it forces me to talk about them. You want to talk about them because they are good.
And it's been fun having our designated, Region 11 girls basketball game of the week that we've been starting, and we did that last year and continuing that this year. But even then, you see the interest level in the stands. For those games, the girls' games versus the boys' games, which is too bad. I mean, the best team in the state, regardless of classification, is in this valley. But they don't get the crowds like even the team that's some of the teams here in Region 11 boys who are really, really struggling. But.
Yeah, and that can be a little frustrating. But we got to take a quick break because we're coming up against it. We have a few more texts we want to get to as we close out the show. So that'll be coming up next here on 106.9 The Fan.
Experience Sunday brunch at Prodigy Brewing on Center Street. Churro French toast, beignets and berries, and everyone's favorite chilaquiles. A delicious combination of eggs, house-made enchilada sauce, tortilla chips, avocado, and pico. Brunch has an all-new meaning of tasty when you visit Prodigy Brewing. Served Sundays 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Prodigy's atmosphere is vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Whether it's with family or friends, Sunday brunch at Prodigy Brewing is a delicious experience. Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
It's engagement season. Time to find the perfect ring. S.E. Needham Jewelers is known for beautifully cut diamonds at excellent prices. Guys, the sparkle is what matters most in the diamond you give your sweetheart. Our diamonds stand apart from those of other stores. Come view our diamonds under magnification. Select a diamond that fits your budget and then have it mounted in a ring that she'll love. Remember, you get S.E. Needham quality at internet pricing. Open Monday through Saturday 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Les Olson IT is your source for top quality technology. We carry the latest desktop and laptop PCs in stock, configured to your specific needs, and backed by our award-winning support team. And if your business demands high-performance hardware, we offer custom-built computers that can tackle any task. We also offer great computer accessories like monitors, keyboards, speakers, Fujitsu document scanners, and more. Get a quote today.
Les Olson IT.
We're heading into some crazy weather this winter, which means power outages. Tyler and his team at Golden Spike Electric can install a Generac automatic standby generator for your home so you can avoid issues when the power goes out. If you have one already, Golden Spike Electric can maintain your Generac automatic standby generator for you. Find them online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. Golden Spike Electric and Generac automatic standby generators. Power you can count on.
Crystal Vision would like to thank their clients for their best year yet. They're grateful for your business and trust. It's a new year, so time for a new look. Crystal Vision, the gold medal winner in Best of Northern Utah, has a frame style you'll love that will set you apart from others. Take in your current prescription and let Crystal Vision fit you into a new look. Let this be the year your glasses feel like they were made for you. Crystal Vision on 14th North or online at crystalvision.com.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back. Final segment, Full Court Press. I can actually turn Eric's mic on. Luckily, he hadn't started talking yet. I've been doing the whole show.
Just waiting for my time. Just waiting for my time.
Thanks, everyone, for texting in. Thanks for Don for calling in, giving his plug.
It's always good to get calls.
Yeah, it's good to get calls, and
even if we don't agree.
Even if we don't agree, I know we're not on the same page as far as how much content to give to the women's basketball team. I know I get excited about them every year, and they've let me down for about 5 years straight. But I'm gonna do it again next year too. I'm gonna get excited, and we'll talk about them, and I'll try and cover them. But sometimes there's realities. But
a couple texts coming through. Short on time. Want to get through those. 5338 texting in. I find it interesting that Ephraim Banda got a promotion on the Aggie football coaching staff, even though the defense this past season was very inconsistent. Did you mention the coaching changes today?
I did not. I don't think I saw those.
Probably went to your spam. Or you didn't look at them?
It goes to my press release folder.
Oh.
And I don't check that as often as I should.
Yeah, so Coach Ephraim Banda is elevated to basically the assistant head coach.
Like associate head coach? Is that
yes.
That's usually the title they throw at him.
And then the Aggies added Tavita Finau, who played collegiately at Utah, spent last couple of years with Utah with their defensive line. He is coming to Utah State as tackles coach, defensive tackles coach. And then, Ephraim Banda elevated to assistant head coach.
See, I thought Efrem Bonden's defenses have been good. They were placed in some pretty bad situations last year. There were some things to, not be as impressed by, but I thought they were all right. And I think he's generally been a good coach.
Yeah, I really don't mind this move. And I think it helps keep him here, for one. And some of the issues that Utah State faced were personnel driven beyond his control because of injuries and trying to plug different people in, inexperienced or just not as talented. And they did what they could with what they had.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes this year with the defense with more personnel problems since he lost like his entire defensive front. 8968 says if Jones can come back next year, I think that is the route to take. We were talking about Ryland Jones, why he hasn't come back yet, and that's just Utah State just hiding his timetable. My own suspicion is he may not play the rest of the year, but
I was up in practice today. He was in street clothes.
Yeah.
While everybody else was in their jerseys and practicing.
Yeah, that's what it's been. We have one more text, 4781. Says, I have a solution for Don's concerns. Contract a few of us fans that want to go to women's game and other sports you may not have time for, but you can return and report and give you more content. Just an idea. You wouldn't have to pay them per day, just maybe cover the ticket cost.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But we're just running up against it. We won't have much time to discuss that. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one, guys.